And joining us now is Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, a member of the Foreign Relations and Judiciary Committees. Senator, thanks so much for being with us. So talk to me about this money, the new billion-dollar aid package. How quickly can it be done? Does it have bipartisan support? Can you meet that target?
Andrea, I think you're referring to the $13.6 billion in specific assistance for Ukraine that has already passed the Senate and was signed into law as part of the omnibus last week.
Well, I'm referring to it because the president announced it today, frankly, as though it were new aid. So trying to parse the news conference, we're not sure.
As you well know,
if he means that that's going to be appropriated out of that money, I get it.
Yes, okay. So we've appropriated it, and now President Biden and the administration will begin delivering the military aid, the support for refugees, the humanitarian relief, the support for our eastern flank NATO allies. This is a significant additional set of resources that we are using to help show both our concern, our compassion for the millions and millions of Ukrainian refugees and our determination to provide significant military assistance to Ukraine. As you know, Andrea, President Biden's leadership has helped pull together NATO and the European Union in opposition to Putin's brutal invasion of Russia. Nations like Switzerland and the Swedes, who sat out the Second World War, have joined in the comprehensive sanctions that have been imposed on Putin's Russia. And I'm grateful for the president's leadership in Europe today.
Now, also today, the president weighed in on something that was suggested by the National Security Advisor a few days ago, Jake Sullivan, which is kicking Russia out of the G20. They were kicked out of the G7 after taking Crimea in 2014. I think China and India might be able to veto that as members of the G20, and they've been sort of straddling the line on, more than straddling the line, in terms of China not coming out and condemning the invasion. But do you agree that we should try to get Russia out of the G20 after the unspeakable horrors of this war?
Andrea, I think we should do everything we possibly can to send the strongest signals to the Russian people, to the Russian leadership, that we view what Putin is doing in Ukraine as absolutely unacceptable. And that's already meant crippling sanctions on the Russian economy. The challenge here, Andrea, is to remember that our dispute, our difference isn't really with the Russian people, but with Vladimir Putin and how he is leading the government of Russia and using the Russian military to crush cities all over Ukraine. The Ukrainians are fighting bravely with great effect and determination. I think it is possible for Ukraine to win this conflict, to stop Putin and Putin's army, but it is a long shot and going to be a demanding and difficult fight. And I think we should do everything we can to give them the resources and the pathway towards being successful in this very difficult fight. Given Putin's brutal record in Aleppo in Syria, in Grozny in Chechnya, we can look forward to, with horror, more brutality against civilians and against the major population centers of Ukraine if we don't do more to signal our united determination. Expelling Russia from the G20 may be one of those constructive steps to send a forceful signal.
Now, I want to switch gears because while, of course, I've been here covering NATO and Brussels and all of these meetings, I've also been watching the confirmation hearings for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson at night. And what I saw last night as she was enduring the questioning, those attacks against her during the questioning and her record was pretty extraordinary. And it certainly led to this remarkable moment at the end of the questioning from Senator Booker. I wanted to play some of that, get your reaction.
It's hard for me not to look at you and not see my mom, not to see my cousins. You have earned this spot. You are worthy. You are a great American. When that final vote happens and you ascend onto the highest court in the land, I'm going to rejoice.
She was moved to tears. I have to say, watching it on a delayed basis in the middle of the night here, it was strikingly emotional. How do you think she was treated during the questioning?
Well, Andrea, this has been a very charged and a very difficult several days of hearings. what I hope the American people saw in these hearings was that Judge Jackson is an historic nominee to the Supreme Court and also an exceptionally capable, qualified, and measured one. Her legal credentials are impeccable. The arc of her service within the legal community as a clerk at the district court, circuit court, Supreme Court level, as a practitioner in private practice, as a federal public defender, as a judge on the district court and now circuit court, makes her perfectly qualified for this moment. And the arc of her remarkable family's struggle and pathway overcoming barriers, I think adds to the significance of her nomination. Despite all of that, a number of my colleagues, Republican colleagues, who promised at the outset these would be respectful and constructive hearings, attacked her, harassed her, took elements of her record out of context. She's written more than 570 legal opinions and has sentenced more than 100 folks to longer services in prison. And frankly, the ways in which a very few of those decisions were cherry-picked and then made the basis for very direct and personal attacks on her and her record, I thought was very regrettable, disrespectful, unnecessary. I don't think it changed any minds on the committee. And I hope that at some point in the future, we'll be able to find our way back to more constructive confirmation hearings. A number of my colleagues, both Republican and Democrat, did ask thoughtful and thorough and reasonable questions. Those aren't the ones getting airtime, both on cable and on social media. What most Americans are seeing is very brief clips of a few senators launching at her or fervently defending her. But one of the things I just want to leave you with, Andrea, is that despite dozens of hours of very aggressive questioning, Judge